In a momentous celebration of courage, resilience and justice, senior advocate Mohan Lal launched his much-awaited book titled At the Pleasure of His Majesty on 6th February at the Delhi High Court's new auditorium. This book delves into the extraordinary life of Mohan Lal. It gives us, the viewer, an understanding about the sacrifices that accompanied his triumphs as he legally challenged the crown and, in fact, the kind of impact that he has left on India's legal framework. The event marked the august presence of honorable justices, including Justice Hema Kohli and Justice Sanjay Karol of the Supreme Court of India, Justice Manmohan, Acting Chief Justice, Delhi High Court, Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, former Supreme Court judge, along with G20 Sherpa, Mr. Amitabh Kant. The esteemed panel memorialized the landmark case fought by I.M Lall that helped define service law for Indian bureaucrats and shaped Article 311 of the Constitution of India. Let's in fact listen into this exclusive conversation with Mr. Mohan Lal, the author of this book.
Groundbreaking verdict was handed in 1948, the first time ever in history a subject won against the British crown. We have with us the man of the moment, Mr. I.M Lall. So first of all, I also read the book when there was the panel discussion was going on. It's amazing, sir. What motivated you to write this book?
Well, as I mentioned to the panel, this was the storytelling ability of my father. When I joined the profession, the whole system of people walking up to me and saying, "You're I.M Lal's son," and there is a historic case out there, and I didn't know about it. I read about it. Then I studied more, I researched more, got my father's recordings, and I realized, I said, this was something that you can imagine senior judges didn't know about the case. I thought it was a story that must be told. It was something that people had to know, and I'm very happy that I've been able to achieve that through this book.
So when I was reading the book, you mentioned like there are stories of your father also, of real life adventures.
Yes.
So if you can just narrate some of them.
So let me narrate one. He's sitting in his Studebaker car, which is my grandfather's car. There are these Gandhara statues, which he had picked up from Takhtabai and that area. We were just lying around, and these were our family sort of heirlooms, now registered with the Archaeological Survey. And he's driving out, and the police catch him with another friend called Zia Mohyuddin, who's a famous actor. Unfortunately, he's no more. And the police catch him, and they're looking at those statues and the car, and they take him inside and tell Zia uncle that aap jaiye, aap Musliman hain, ye Hindu hain, inko hum nahi jaane denge. As they're entering the police station, there are 2 or 3 beheaded Sikhs there, and my father narrating this, saying, you know, I am absolutely scared. Now Zia realized that the only way to get him, you know, there was a mob outside, and he needed to get out. And they weren't letting him get out as well. So he started sort of just acting and saying, Amar, tum kafir ho, and I am going to leave you. I'm not going to risk my life for you. And he storms out of the police station. Bahar unko ek dost mila, motorcycle pe. And he stops him and says, no questions asked. Amar is there. Go in and get him out. He drives into the police station, says, Amar, jump. He sits at the back of the bike, and they drive out. Zia also jumps onto the bike. The mob starts chasing them. They go all around town, and then they decide they shouldn't go to anybody's home. The mob is still sort of mob's caught up with them. So they ask him, Amar, you better get off. And he hides under a bridge, and the mob goes over him. And then he goes to a church, and the next 3 days he's in hiding in a church. So these are one of his many adventures. He came and went back to Amritsar, Lahore many times to bring back a lot of the stuff that we had there, and had to go through these. And then finally, when he was crossing the border the second time around, the Studebaker car broke. They stopped him, and the police said, show me papers. He didn't have any papers. And he realized that probably the man doesn't understand English, so he put out some government papers and said, ye rahe. So the man tried to read, acha, okay, go. And then the car by then had stopped, wouldn't start, and he made the inspector push the car and start it, and then drove across the border. So the fascinating stories which are captured in the book. And this is in the backdrop of that case going on in the Privy Council. So I just found it just so incredibly sort of motivational that I said, I'm so glad I penned it down.
Yes. So just the very last question. Article 311, of course, you know, the bedrock of the Constitution. According to you, over the years, how has it acted as a catalyst when it comes to decision making for the civil servants?
Well, you heard a very senior bureaucrat, Amitabh Kant, saying, that is what gives us hope. That is what gives us for what we are. That is what allows us to ensure that we will get justice. And it is this case which led to Article 311, which is what now gives confidence to civil servants that they are not going to be not given due process, and the due process of law will prevail over the pleasure of, as we call it today, the president. At that time, it was His Majesty.
Thanks a lot, sir, for speaking to NewsX. So, of course, there you heard Chandra M. Lal in New Delhi with camera person Ankush Akshat Gupta for NewsX.
Meanwhile, Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul has also shared his thoughts and perspectives with us. Let's listen in.
Not many are aware that Article 311 of the Constitution is the bedrock on which the civil services stand. I have with me Justice SK Kaul. Well, sir, according to you, for what many reasons the Article 311 is the bedrock, and of course, how do you see the book?
So it provides the protection to the civil servant to be independently take decisions, and that's the most important aspect of it. It's bedrock in the sense that while taking decisions, his service terms are protected. And I.M Lal's battle was against this concept of pleasure of the crown, which he succeeded. So in that sense, it's an important aspect. And the book is a very well-written, crisp one. It's not prolonged. It deals with the partition issue also, and deals with I.M Lal's battle and his family members during this period of time. It shows, I think, in conclusion, how difficult it is to carry on these battles and at what cost these battles are carried on.
So you have also talked about how this book is a testament to the phrase perseverance conquers all. So what would you say about it?
Yes, but you know, there are people who, like Mr. Lal, have fought battles. But in each of the instances you pick up, there's a cost to it. So it just shows that fighting battles on basis of principles, on equity and other aspects, takes a toll on the person.
Thanks a lot, sir, for sharing your view on that. So, of course, you heard there Justice SK Kaul about the book At the Pleasure of His Majesty, written by Chandra M. Lal. In New Delhi with camera person Ankush Akshat Gupta for NewsX.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.